As you know, at the World Bank, we're mostly dealing, or actually exclusively dealing with the developing world. So what does smartness mean, or what do smart cities mean in the developing world? Now, let's say, why are we actually talking about smart cities or smart urbanization? The fact is that over 90% of the urban growth today is taking place in the developing world. And we'll have about 70 million people moving into cities each year. And urbanization is today the defining phenomena for development, for economic growth, in fact, for the whole century. And the question then becomes, is not how to contain urbanization, because it brings with it crime and grime and congestion, but actually how to harness it, and harness it for economic growth, but as well as for poverty alleviation, because we believe that both are intricately linked. And this requires cities where all this growth is taking place, where people are moving from rural areas in search of job opportunities and growth and better services in terms of health and education. It requires cities to be smart so that whatever they do today, whatever decisions they take today, which are probably going to be irreversible because some of these decisions are like putting the DNA of the city, that those decisions are smart, so that you may lock in systemic benefits for current and future generations. So what is a smart city? We believe that the smart city is a city which can actually do more with less. And I think it fits in really well with the kind of austerity measures we have today, the sort of financial crisis we have today, the kind of resource constraints that we have today. So we have to be smart about using resources and do more with less. And being smart is not primarily about adopting technology. As the speaker before me said, it's not about putting sensors everywhere and making that smart. Smart means making the right decisions, ensuring that economic growth unleashed by urbanization is sustainable, it is inclusive, and it's equitable, because we always have to see that the growth does not leave a whole majority of people behind. And we see that today in the Occupy Wall Street movement in the US. We saw that in the Arab Spring not too many months ago. And being smart also means managing interdependency. We cannot be thinking in cities in terms of vertical silos. We have to think of the city as a complex system. And in fact, beyond that, we have to think of cities in a country as a system of cities. We cannot be looking at cities in isolation or as silos or their own systems. We have to look at them as interdependent and to be designed to work well. So we're looking at a city system approach, a holistic approach, and that is smartness. Now, there are three key areas that smart cities use. Firstly, it is smart cities make decisions which are evidence-based. And what does that mean? All good intentions do not always translate into good results. And we find that especially the public sector and the cities are rather diffident or shy about collecting data, about using data to monitor their own performance. Or, for example, cities need data on crime, on pollution, on service delivery, etc., to make intelligent decisions and to track their performance and have a loop feeding into future decisions. I always like to quote Mayor Bloomberg, who said, "In God we trust, but everyone else bring us data." And we need data basically to also benchmark our performance. How do we know as a city that we are doing well? Just because the mayor says so? No. Cities also need to be collaborative. Smart cities are catalysts for collective action. They proactively bring together all stakeholders around a common set of long-term goals and strategies. And they must make decisions transparently and openly. And what does that mean? What it means is that the citizens in a city must have voice. We should look at the model of voice and accountability. The city government has accountability to its citizens, but the citizens must voice up their concerns. And thirdly, smart cities must tap into innovations, both of the private sector and of social entrepreneurs, because they must bring in all stakeholders into that collaborative model. Thirdly, smart cities must take a balanced approach without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, which basically means that you have to be balanced in terms of the resources you use and in terms of a long-term vision for economic growth and for sustainable development. So cities must balance the way that they are growing, the way that they are providing services to their citizens, so that in the end, the economic growth is durable, it's equitable, and it is, of course, inclusive.